The NBA playoffs move right along, and yesterday we had our first batch of Game 2s. But if you missed out on them, you came to the right place. Welcome to TV's Daily NBA Recap, where we recap yesterday's action in a short amount of time. Let's go. The first game on the dock, we had the Toronto Raptors beating the Brooklyn Nets 104-99 to take the commanding 2-0 series lead. The Raptors basically got all their scoring production off four players: Pascal Siakam 19 points, Kyle Lowry with 21, and 24 apiece for Norman Powell and Fred VanVleet. On the Brooklyn Nets side of things, you had Garrett Temple scoring 21 points, Caris LeVert struggling shooting game for him, 5 for 22, but 16 points and 11 assists, and Joe Harris and Jared Allen both had 14 rebounds and 14 points, 15 rebounds. This game was extremely frustrating as a Raptor fan because for the first three quarters, the offense just seemed stagnant, it seemed stale, and the Brooklyn Nets were very much frustrating us on the defensive end. The Brooklyn Nets got off to an early lead, but the Raptors were able to come back, and that just happened multiple times during this game. The Nets got off to a big lead early, the Raptors caught up. They would extend the lead, the Raptors would catch up. It's like they would go two steps forward, then once it looks like we're about to pass them in the race, they would just find an extra boost. And that just kept going on for the whole game until the fourth quarter, where the offense just started finally clicking. Sure, it was only four guys that really did the bulk of the offense, but we needed every single one of those points. VanVleet was phenomenal. Siakam, although didn't have a great game shooting from the field, was great on both ends. Kyle Lowry doing Kyle Lowry type things. And even Norman Powell, who was a big blessing in this game, because we needed that extra push from somewhere, and he was able to do that like he's done all season long. It was weird too because they didn't even play Terrence Davis, which is the first game he's missed all year. So, hopefully everything's okay, but hopefully come next game. But, shout out to the Brooklyn Nets though. They put up a big fight, but this match just clearly shows why grit will not be enough against this Raptor team, because the Raptors will match you grit for grit, but the Raptors won this game because they just were more talented. They were more talented than the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn didn't have anyone to really counteract the punches that Toronto was throwing late, and the Raptors won because they just had the better players. They had the All-Stars on their team. And what's unfortunate for Brooklyn is that, after this game, Joe Harris had to leave the bubble due to some personal personal reasons. So that's another player, probably their second or third best player on this team right now, who's going to not be with them. So that's unfortunate, but the Raptors were still able to pull out the win. Let's see if the Raptors can continue this momentum on their way to a sweep. We move on to the next game, and this was an absolute blowout. The Utah Jazz defeating the Denver Nuggets 124-105 to tie up the series at 1. Donovan Mitchell, another fantastic game, scoring 30 points. And also he had a big boost from Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench with 26. Joe Ingles had 18 points as well to chip in. On the Denver side of things, both Michael Porter Jr. and Nikola Jokic both had 28 points, with Jokic adding 11 rebounds to his stats. And Jamal Murray kind of struggled this game, scoring 14. This game was extremely interesting in the sense where it looked like it was going to be a competitive game for about the first 20 minutes. And then at the end of the second quarter, the Utah Jazz went on this huge run to extend their lead to 13 at halftime. And they just wouldn't stop there. The Utah Jazz went on an absolute shooting barrage, looking like the freaking Golden State Warriors in that third quarter. It's led by Donovan Mitchell, who scored 21 out of his 30 points in the third period. And I kept dissing the Jazz because of their because I thought that their lack of offense was going to show hard in these playoffs, especially without Bojan Bogdanovic, especially that Mike Conley wasn't going to be there the first few games. But they've been really good on the offensive end. But one thing I really forgot to focus on is that in this bubble, the Denver Nuggets have had the worst defense. I've been dissing the Blazers, I've been dissing the Mavs, but the Nuggets in this bubble, if you look at the season in its entirety, the Nuggets are pretty bang average, but when you just look at just this bubble in general, they've been absolutely horrible, and that has to do a lot. I mean, Gary Harris, one of the better defenders in their starting lineup. Same thing with Will Barton, who left the bubble to get some treatment. So hopefully he's still able to play. But they've been really bad on that end, and it's really showed this game because the Utah Jazz, a team that's not really known for its offensive prowess, scored 23s, and that's what really was the big difference in this game. Will Denver recover? I'm not sure, but right now, the Utah Jazz, I have a lot more confidence in them, going into Game 3 than I do Denver. So, good win for Utah. They're gonna get Mike Conley back soon, so that's a huge plus. Congratulations on his newborn once again, and yeah, good win for Utah. Move on to the next game. We have the Boston Celtics versus the Philadelphia 76ers, and Boston extends the lead to 2-0 in the series, absolutely demolishing the 76ers, 128-121. On the Boston side of things, the three-headed monster of Tatum, Brown, and Walker came in big today. 33 points for Tatum, 20 points for Jaylen Brown, 22 points for Kemba Walker. On the Philadelphia side of things, they had a very good performance from Joel Embiid, 34 and 10, but he got pretty bang average help in this game. 18 points from Josh Richardson, which was not bad. Shake Milton helped 14, and Tobias with 13, but that's not enough when you have to deal with that three-headed monster down in Boston. This game, I never really do feel bad for Joel Embiid, but in this game I definitely did because Embiid started off the game so hot. They were getting him in the post, and it looked like, the 76ers were going to just ride him to victory. But Boston knew that if we can cut off that interior pass to Embiid or just double team him on the double team, if you double team him in the post, we're going to win this game. And that's what got him back in this game because the 76ers got out to an early lead and the Boston just chipped away, and actually got it back relatively quickly in the second quarter. And they extended the lead, I believe, to was it double digits? No, I think it was only 8-point lead into halftime. And this Boston didn't stop there. I mean, Jason Tatum just kept hitting ridiculous shot after ridiculous shot. Jaylen Brown was doing his thing, hitting a 360 dunk, which looked super clean. And Kemba Walker taking his chances when he could. And with the 76ers, I mean, once Boston blocked out the interior pass to Embiid in the inside, no one else can help him. And you could tell Embiid was so frustrated. And seeing him on the bench, seeing his face and his palms and all that, I felt so bad for the guy because where's the help coming from? If you look at just their two other options beside Embiid, I mean, Al Horford and Tobias Harris, they combined for a total of 17 points on 18 shots. That is nowhere near good enough to face off against this dangerous Boston team. And seeing how much money is invested in those guys and the little help that they give to Embiid, it's just completely furthers my point that the Celtics just have no idea what they're doing. They just bring in guys, seeing that they're names, and it just doesn't work out. And they couldn't even help Embiid. I felt so bad that Embiid couldn't even have a 30 and 10 game and not even be close to winning. And this just furthers my point, thinking this is going to be a short series, and Boston's looking very, very dangerous. Even without Gordon Hayward, where he might be back maybe second round, they look very, very dangerous. So good one for Boston. Tough outing for the Philadelphia 76ers. I know 76ers fans are really pissed right now. I follow some of them on Instagram. They're pissed. We move on to the next game. And the final game of the day, the primetime game, the Dallas Mavericks versus the LA Clippers, in which Dallas was able to tie up the series 127-114 over the LA Clippers. Luka Doncic, 28 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Porzingis chipped in with 23 points and 7 rebounds. And they had some great bench production. I mean, 15 points for Seth Curry and also 16 points from Trey Burke. With Boban Marjanovic, yes, he got minutes in this game. 13 points and 9 rebounds in 10 minutes. On the Clippers side of things, you had another great performance from Kawhi, 35 points, 10 rebounds. Lou Williams did his very best off the bench, scoring 23 points, dishing out 7 assists. And Paul George struggled very heavily in this game, 14 points on 17 shots. The Dallas had control of this game throughout, but and they played really well. I'm not taking anything away from that. But there's always that eerie feeling, and I think that's with this Dallas team, is that they're going to give this up eventually, right? Because there's several times in this bubble and in the regular season that they have given up these leads, and the broadcast really put a focus on that as well, because I believe in games decided by 3 games or 3 points or less, Dallas always ends up losing. And they've given them some big leads like in this bubble. I mean, that Dallas game to really put into mind. I mean, they had a big lead against Phoenix, and they still lost that game. And as a Raptor fan, I remember watching that game back in December where they were up by 33 on us in the third quarter, and we came back into the game and won it. Like, Dallas Mavericks this season, like, that was like one of their only biggest flaws on the offensive end, and we were like, when is it going to happen? When is the collapse going to happen? But in this game, it never came. And that had to do with the Clippers offense looking very, very uncreative, non-creative, very stale, and it just looked awkward. And Dallas is just so smooth on that end. I mean, Luka Doncic had another great game. Porzingis looked really good, but the bench production, man. I mean, 15 from Seth, Trey Burke with 16, and Boban with 13. That just, the supporting cast was the big difference in this game, and they were able to help them like hold on to that victory, which is a nice change of pace for this team. And the thing was, I mean, Luka Doncic had 5 fouls in the third quarter, and Rick Carlisle didn't want to keep putting him into the game until like they absolutely needed him. And the supporting cast did their job. I mean, Porzingis was hitting shot after shot to kind of like keep that lead like out of reach. Seth Curry was hitting big threes in the fourth. Same thing with Trey Burke, who looked like a really good backup point guard. I mean, he was playing fantastic that game. And they turned the narrative around. They were able to win this game, even though like people were expecting them to give it up. And for the Clipper side of things, like I just mentioned earlier, it just looked awkward. I mean, Paul George, horrible game. I mean, early foul trouble, so he really couldn't get going in the first half. I mean, he got his first field goals in the second half, but even still, 4 for 17 from the field, absolutely horrible, and it just doesn't look good. I mean, if you just look at the assist numbers, I mean, 25 assists from the Mavericks, 16 to the Clippers. That's all that needs to tell you there. It just looked awkward, it looked stale, and it looks uninspiring. I mean, I've talked about this like in the past. The Clippers, have not gotten used to playing with each other. I mean, this is the first. I mean, this is not even about Patrick Beverley. I mean, obviously he would have helped, but even still, like, the roster has never been healthy. I mean, this is as close to a full roster as they're gonna get, but it just doesn't look good. And I think they're going to be able to clean it up just because of how good they are, but are they? I mean, they're facing off against one of the best offensive team of all time. They have the highest offensive rating in NBA history, and they're able to like just put a pounding on them, and as they are one of the better defensive teams as well. So are they going to be able to find that offensive flow to their game? And will they be able to stop the Mavericks? I don't know, but I think that I didn't give the Mavericks enough credit, and they should really do need like more of my respect. So I think this series is going to be a lot more competitive than I initially predicted, but I'm very excited to see where this goes from here. Thank you for listening to my daily recap. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. If you're watching this on IGTV, leave a follow, leave a like. I would very much appreciate it. Thank you for taking this time out of your day to watch this, and I hope you all have a great day. Take it easy, y'all. Peace.